Welcome back to Anime Recap, anime fans. Today, we're recapping the anime Blood Lad. Blood Lad is about a teenage vampire demon named Stas Charlie Blood. Stas is many things, including dramatic and kind of lazy, but he's also an otaku, meaning he's a super fan of Japanese manga and anime. Since he's so distracted by his obsession, he doesn't really have time for the typical vampire activities like sucking blood and hiding in the shadows. Since Stas is too lazy to go through the hassle of being a vampire in the human world, he spends all of his time ruling over his district in the demon world. Of course, a busy otaku like Stas has a second in command to do most of his bidding. His second's name is Deku. One day, Deku calls Stas to alert him that there's a human girl in their demon world district, and all the demons around are staring at her like she's going to be their next meal. Stas immediately thinks of all the human girls he's seen in video games and animes, and he orders Deku to bring the girl to his apartment. Even though Stas is the boss of his demon district, he breaks out in a panic at the thought of spending time with a human girl at his apartment. Stas decides to dress up a little, throwing on pink sunglasses for the girl's arrival. Soon enough, Deku drags the human girl into Stas's apartment. She's tied up and gagged, but Stas immediately launches into a discussion about Japanese media and games with her, which she seems confused by. Minutes later, Stas gets another call from Deku. He's annoyed at the interruption, but Deku informs Stas that someone wants to challenge him as boss of the district. Stas has no choice but to go and fight. The human girl seems worried about Stas when he tells her his plans, which makes him blush. He reassures her, though. While they talk, Stas is overcome with the desire to drink blood from her pale neck. Stas freaks out over his vampiric desire, so he rushes off after declaring his affection for the girl. Stas jumps out of his window and lands with style, ready to face off against this new challenger. While the villain gloats about fighting the great Stas, all Stas can think about is returning to the human girl. The villain, who wields plants and flowers to fight, starts to show off with some flashy moves. But Stas makes quick work of the villain, crushing his heart without even touching him. Stas and Deku head back to Stas's apartment. When they open the door, they are horrified to see a rogue plant eating the girl. Stas goes crazy trying to save her, but all they find are her clothes and some bones. Stas and Deku break out in a panic, but they turn to find the girl naked in the corner, hiding herself. Stas is relieved, but then notes that she seems different. Deku points out the white triangle on her head, which indicates that she's actually a ghost now, since humans turn into ghosts when they die in the demon world. Since they have her bones and her soul in ghost form, Stas vows to bring the girl back to life. Stas gives the ghost some of his clothes, but she's upset because Stas seems much less interested in her now that she's dead. He asks her name, not taking his eyes off his manga, and we learn that her name is Fuyumi. Stas still seems like he's not interested in her, and Fuyumi starts to wonder whether Stas will actually help her at all. But Stas informs her that he's reading manga to figure out how to bring her back to life. Fuyumi worries that Stas will start trying to do something crazy to bring her back, which is exactly what he proposes doing. Fuyumi tells Stas about how she actually entered the demon world from the human world, which was through a mysterious portal, and suggests going back to the portal to get answers. However, Stas doesn't take her seriously and insists his idea is better. Fuyumi finally drags Stas out of the apartment to go look at the portal, which is called the Black Curtain. Stas can't believe it and has never seen anything like it, even though it's just sitting there in the alley. Stas immediately wants to give it a try so he can go to the human world. Before he can go through the portal, Stas has some research to do. He brings Fuyumi to a cafe owned by one of his friends, Sati and Mamajiro, and asks them if they are capable of using the portal. The two use their powers and then let Stas know that Fuyumi is actually transitioning into a demon, which means their time in the human world will have to be cut short. As Stas thinks this over, Deku arrives with a new recruit for their team, a boy named Yoshido who is a mimic. Mamajiro decides to tell Deku and Mimic Stas's business and lets them know that Stas is going to go to the human world soon. Mamajiro is worried that demons will go to war to fight over Stas's place if he disappears. Lucky for them, Yoshido is basically a shapeshifter and easily transforms into a perfect replica of Stas, so it'll take people a while to realize Stas is no longer in the demon world. Fuyumi is worried about his plan, but Deku insists that Stas always sees things through. Stas is so excited to visit the human world. He and Fuyumi finally go through the black curtain, but they end up in Fuyumi's bedroom. Stas immediately starts to mock Fuyumi for her boring bedroom and lifestyle. Stas decides he's going to enroll in Fuyumi's school to get his otaku fix. Fuyumi is extremely worried about this plan, but can't do anything to stop Stas. Stas and Fuyumi are stopped by Fuyumi's father, who is freaking out about Fuyumi missing school. Stas seems bored by the interaction and subdues Fuyumi's dad with a few sprays of his own vampire saliva. Stas laughs when he explains it to Fuyumi and even sprays her a few times before revealing the spray only works on humans, not demons. As Stas heads out, he's oblivious to Fuyumi's feelings as she finally realizes she's no longer human. After letting Fuyumi know that they have to be careful, Stas begins acting like a huge tourist and takes pictures of everything he sees, even the mundane trees and streets. Once they get to Fuyumi's school, they begin to worry that the students might realize Stas is a vampire demon. To handle that, Stas starts spraying the entire class with his saliva, putting them under his control. Fuyumi tries going about her day normally, but she can't stop freaking out about how normal it feels. Nobody notices that she's a ghost. After class, some of Fuyumi's friends gather around her desk. They didn't notice her absence the day before, and Fuyumi realizes that because of Stas's spray, they don't notice how different Fuyumi is, and even have false memories of her. When the day ends, Stas sits on Fuyumi's desk and asks about her day. Stas is messing around, but Fuyumi begins to cry. She is upset that she's no longer a human and wishes that she didn't have to trick everyone she knows with Stas's saliva. Stas insists Fuyumi get over her human existence and embrace being a demon. As he walks away, he warns her that ghosts eventually start to disappear in the human world. Fuyumi thinks he's messing with her, but sure enough, she looks down and her feet are disappearing. As the two bicker, Fuyumi eventually says she's happy because she wants to disappear anyway. Stas gets upset by this and bites his finger and tells Fuyumi to suck his blood. This will allow her to keep appearing human. Until she can complete her transition into a full demon, she'll have to keep sipping Stas's blood. As Fuyumi and Stas walk around the human world, Stas realizes that he doesn't really want to suck anyone's blood the way he wants to suck Fuyumi's. Stas insists they go back to the demon world since he's starting to feel weak. As the two enter Fuyumi's house to go through the portal, there's a weird woman bouncing on Fuyumi's bed. Her name is Hydra Belle. She introduces herself as the owner of the Black Curtain. She keeps bragging about herself, not even hearing Stas when he accuses her of trying to trap him. Finally, Belle tells Stas and Fuyumi that the Black Curtain belongs to her, and they each owe her a huge sum of money for using it. Stas stands to attack Belle, but she easily transports him to another realm. But then takes Fuyumi and threatens to kill her if Stas doesn't do some work for her. Belle needs Stas to go get something for her from a demon store. While Stas is on his quest, Belle reveals to Fuyumi that someone stole the Black Curtain from her, which is how they found it. Belle is afraid to retaliate against whoever stole it because they must have been extremely powerful to steal something like that from her. Back at the shop, Stas finds the item he is looking for, which is a pair of underwear. The shopkeeper informs Stas that the underwear can't be bought and chooses who wears it. Then the shopkeeper sends Stas flying with a punch. Stas takes care of the shopkeeper just as Belle and Fuyumi show up. Belle tells Stas that this was all just a test, and she doesn't actually care about the underwear, and she never would have killed Fuyumi. That's when Belle reveals the deal. If Stas helps her find and defeat whoever stole her Black Curtain, she'll help Stas locate the book about resurrecting humans so he can save Fuyumi. Stas is shocked when he finds out that Belle sold the book on human resurrection to someone named Wolf, an old friend and now rival of Stas's. Belle riles Stas up again, and he goes to attack her. He accidentally knocks himself out and sends himself back to the demon world. Back in the demon world, Stas decides to go to Wolf's territory. He brings Mamajiro with him since he caught the demon talking about him. Stas, Mamajiro, and Fuyumi head for Wolf's territory in a carriage, but soon enough, Wolf stands in their way and slices the carriage in half. Wolf and Stas reunite and are happy to see each other. Despite Wolf and Stas' childhood friendship, Wolf can't help Stas for free, since he's the boss of a rival demon territory. So Stas challenges Wolf to a contest. If Wolf wins, he gets Fuyumi. If he loses, he helps Stas find the book. Wolf blushes over this and Fuyumi is outraged, but Stas seems confident. Later on, Stas reveals his plans to Fuyumi. The contest Stas is setting up will be a bowling competition, which Stas is really good at since his powers allow him to manipulate things. However, everyone is shocked to find out that Wolf has actually prepared a boxing match for their competition instead. Wolf knocks Stas down immediately, but once Stas gets back up, he faces off with Wolf. Thanks to his ability to regenerate, Stas doesn't go down with any of Wolf's hits. Wolf also realizes that Stas bit him at some point, allowing him to leech Wolf's magic. Wolf starts to transform into his actual wolf form, and Stas begins to use one of his most powerful moves. But Fuyumi stops them from killing each other with a slap and reminds them of their friendship. Belle shows up and declares both Stas and Wolf to be losers of the competition. Then she reveals that she had the book all along, pissing the two demons off. Belle hands the book over to Stas and the crew, but when they open the book, they realize it's written in a language they can't read. When Stas looks through the book, he finds out his terrifying older brother is the author of the text, and he'll have to go to him for answers.